Hello friends! Today we have a D23 vlog. A lot of you asked me to go ahead and vlog D23, so I did that for you. The only things that I didn't really cover were panels I didn't get into, but also some of the shopping experiences. I mean, it just looks like a hall full of booths of people selling stuff, so there's a bunch of that I didn't get, but I did get a bunch of the big booths and a bunch of the like display booths for you guys to see, so most of that should be in here. I did decide to split this video into two parts. People asked me my opinion about D23 since last time I went I didn't have such a great time, and what I thought about it now. So the first half of this is going to be me videoing D23, which is harder than you'd think because the expo hall is like actually really dark in a lot of parts of it. So it's hard to get good shots in there, but I did the best I can, so expect it to be a little dim. So the second part of this is going to be my commentary on D23 and what I thought about it and what I thought about it compared to the last time I went, stuff like that. So if you want to just watch the first half, feel free. Otherwise, stick around for the second half and I'll let you know what I thought. Hello friends! Welcome to D23. I'm here with my buddy Sarah. We are currently in the security line to go in. The security line for us wasn't bad, weirdly. I have to say, I don't know if you can hear me, but it is muggy AF here. Like, it is unbelievably humid in Southern California today. It is supposed to rain. It's also like 96 degrees. So we are trying to get into a panel that we have a ticket for. I don't know if it's gonna work out, so we're gonna find out. Also, I don't know how to vlog with a mask on. I have extremely low confidence that we're gonna get into this panel because we have to wade our way through this nightmare. Doesn't look good, guys. My pessimism was unfounded. We found the line we're supposed to be in, and we're in it within the amount of time we're supposed to be in it. So, look at that. Hey guys, so we went to that panel and it was super fun, and then it was like fun and also boring, and then fun again, and then boring, and then fun again. But then they did a thing to Chadwick Boseman and I started crying, like hard. And then we got some food and that took quite some time, and basically we've been shopping, but I did find my buddy Brittany.
Finally!
Yeah.
It's been years.
We have never met each other in person, but we talk to each other all the time on Instagram.
When we tried to meet up in person, I tried to come visit and then things just kept not working out.
It was like, hey, COVID's really bad right now, and then, oh.
COVID got better, and we were like, I'm gonna come visit. And then things spiked again and we were like, no, let's be safe.
Now's not the time.
Yeah.
Now isn't the time. But maybe in November will be the time, we'll see. Anyway, we are just shopping right now because we are all feeling spendy, is what it comes down to. And it's best to get the stuff while it's still here instead of waiting till later and then having them be sold out. So that's what's happening. Hello from Bed Chats. So I left you last while we were walking around potentially shopping. I have no idea if you could hear me or not in that convention hall because I had a mask on. I suddenly realized I was gonna vlog D23, but like, I don't know how to do that with a mask on. Like, part of this is like you at least being able to maybe lip read me while I'm talking, right? If it's too loud, but yeah. So anyway, we had a pretty good day. Let's recap this. We went to the Legends ceremony, which was half keynote speech by Bob I don't know what his last name is. The guy who heads Disney now. I'm not a big fan of that guy, so like, not spending a lot of time on his name. Anyway, I think he's driving that company into the ground. That's what I have to say about it. Did he say anything interesting? Oh, they're expanding Avengers Campus is what I know so far. I think the parks panel later will probably have more information about that, but I can't go to the parks panel because we didn't get into that one. And the standby lines are really short. So like essentially, if you didn't acquire a reservation, you have to get here at like 4:30 to get into a thing. And I'm absolutely a solid no to that. It was also like, I think 80% humidity and like 96 degrees today. So it was like muggy. It was like when I went and visited Gigi in Louisiana, it was like that. But it's just raining and its temperature is supposed to drop tomorrow. So I'm excited for a potential like demugging. We'll see if that happens. Okay, so we went to the Legend ceremony, which was kind of like watching an award show happen. I mean, it wasn't kind of, it was exactly like watching an award show happen. People were giving speeches. Some of those speeches were excellent and some of those speeches were speeches that needed work and more practice. But we did see, oh, Kristen Bell and Jonathan Groff. Am I saying the right name? Yeah. And who's the guy who plays Olaf?
Josh Gad.
Josh Gad. And Patrick Dempsey. And the two lead stars of Blackish. And that part was cool. Like, they were all very nice people. But most importantly, they gave it to at least two, right, Imagineers. Two Imagineers and one CFO. Who is just passed anyway, but the two Imagineers came and they showed their work and it was really cool to see their work. So tomorrow we have an Imagineering panel to go to, so that's very exciting. Then we went and had some food. That was fine. It wasn't great, but it was fine. And then we basically walked around and shopped the rest of the afternoon. And I guess I could have vlogged all of that, but I think what's gonna happen is later I'll just do not a time lapse, but like a musically enhanced cruise through the expo hall so you can see what kind of things are there. I spent so much money today. I went to Citizen and got some watches. This is a Maleficent watch, but you probably can't see that right now. I went to Pandora. Where else did we go? We went to Loungefly and we went to Lunchbox and didn't want anything at either one. Although they have a Jack Skellington pumpkin bag that I would really like, but I can't get here early enough to get, like, I'll be in a panel at 10 tomorrow, so there's no way for me to get that bag. And then we also were slightly disappointed by Mickey's of Glendale, which is the Imagineering store. Normally that shop is choice. Like, they have all kinds of Imagineering gear. In the past, I've bought like I dropped like $1,200 in 2015 in that store because I bought a bunch of pins and I bought at least 3 or 4 t-shirts and I bought sweatshirts and I bought jackets. It was a good haul in 2015. I bought one shirt and it was like, it's an okay shirt. That's all I have to say about it. To be fair, I don't need any more clothes, so it's fine that I didn't get those things. I was just like very disappointed with the offerings. Sarah, do you have similar thoughts? She says yes, it was pretty much the same. I don't know if my mic can pick you up from here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was very like meh, and I was kind of upset about, not like upset, but just like disappointed. You know how it is when you've like been somewhere and they had really good offerings and then the next time you go you're just like, I don't need this. So anyway, there's a couple more stores that we do want to get into, like the Disney Emporium. I think we definitely want to go to, there's 3 of them, and we want to go to at least one of them, right?
Yeah.
So we'll try tomorrow for that. You have to join a virtual queue. So at 1 o'clock, you have to like push a bunch of buttons and hope you get in on a virtual queue, and then you get like a number, and then they call your numbers. And when your number's called, you show up, and then you get in a line, which you then wait in for quite some time. So fun times for that. But that was basically it. I mean, I spent a bunch of money, unfortunately, but also I got nice watches and I got some Pandora things, and it's great that those other shops didn't have what I wanted anyway, because it means I would have spent money, so I just didn't have to do that. It's fantastic. Hello, we're here for day 2. We're standing in that stupid line again. We found Brittany again today. We went to our panel and it was good but not great. So we're fine though about it. We're gonna go look at shopping options again because honestly that's why we're here. So that is what's happening. and I have to carry a whole bunch of stuff because someone decided to come in a huge ass costume. So I'm a handler now. Day 3. Mural's almost done.
Good job.
Drive the boat. now that you have seen what it's like, now for my commentary. I would like to preface this with, this was my experience, so be kind in the comments section. I know I'm going to say some things that people aren't going to agree with and they're not going to like. And they're going to think it's too much or whatever. I have too high of expectations. But please remember that, like, I'm allowed to have my own opinion. This is just my opinion. It's not like law. It's not going to stop Disney from putting D23 on. But as you can maybe tell, I didn't like it. I still had a really good time because I believe even if you're somewhere you're not having a lot of fun at the thing, you can still have a lot of fun with your friends. So I met up with a bunch of people that I'm friends with, and I was with my friend Sarah the whole weekend, so we had a pretty good time just hanging out together, looking at stuff, enjoying things. I got to have dinner with a couple of my friends. It was really nice. Afterwards we went to Disneyland. That was what my soul needed, was just to go to Disneyland. But yeah, the con was a disappointment again. I am somewhat infamous for having said that I hated D23 in 2015. It was a very poorly run con. I didn't have a very good time. That time the people that I was with were like fighting the entire time, so that also made it not fun. But the con itself, when compared to other cons I've been to, and I've been to everything from San Diego Comic Con to Gen Con to Dragon Con to like lots of big cons is what I'm saying, so I know what a con should look like. I did not have a good time in 2015, and I did not have a good time this time either. And I will tell you why. Alright, so the first thing that happened to us was we had a panel first thing in the morning, Friday morning, first thing of the con. They had sent us an email the week before saying, these are the panels that you got into. Be on the lookout to know how far in advance you need to be to your panels. I'm like, why wouldn't you just tell me in this email? They didn't. What they did was send a push notification to your phone at 9:10 that you had to be there an hour ahead of your panel, which was at 10:30. Which means I needed to be in line for my panel by 9:30. At 9:10, I am in my bed still, and so is my friend. So we got up, put our clothes on, ran downstairs, go through security, which, as I mentioned in the vlog, we actually got through security pretty quickly, but then they hold you in this giant pen. The doors open at 9 o'clock, and they hold you back until 9:45, which means that if I had not pushed my way to the front and gotten to the place where I could get in the line for the Hall D23 panel that we were in, we would not have made it. What they are doing is when the doors open at 9, they are letting all the people in that slept overnight or waited since 4:30 in the morning to get in first, and then they're letting everyone who has come through the gates. By the way, it's incredibly humid. It's incredibly hot already outside, and we're just sweating and we're just standing there. And as you guys may know, walking around is fine. Standing really hurts your feet. So we're starting the day with standing around for like, potentially like, 45 minutes. For us, it was about an hour. They're waiting to let the big herd go until they single file let everyone who's waited since 4:30 in the morning into the con. These people were already security checked. They were already scanned. They didn't need to do anything. They could have just opened all the doors and let them flow in, and then opened the doors in front of us and let us flow in. They opted not to do this. My biggest complaint about 2015 was line management and how awful they are at it. They are still awful at it. So then we get in the line, like I said, to go to our first panel. Cool. We're led into this basement area where we have to badge in that we have definitely a reservation. And there is a holding pen full of people who have also waited in line to do standby. But that area is very small. We badge in and they're like, go stand in any line you want. Okay, these lines are like 20 different lines, and you could go all the way to the left or all the way to the right, and it didn't really matter. Except that they peel you off one line at a time, and they don't tell you that they're gonna do that. You feel like you're just standing in a big group, but you're not. You're actually standing in lines. So we went to what looked like where all the newest people were flowing, which was to the right. We could have walked to the left, we didn't. Those people got in a good 30 minutes ahead of us, because they peeled everyone off individually to go up to this hall. Why they're doing that is beyond me. Second of all, this panel starts at 10:30. They start letting people into the hall at like 10:10, and they are single file taking literally like 4,000 people into this room. We did not get into the panel room until 11. We had reservations. Also, while we were standing in line, I look around and I notice that the people around us are on one side or have wristbands on, and I'm like, what's up with the wristbands? They're like, oh, you need this to get in. Nobody in my line has wristbands. So I stop someone and I'm like, hi, what's up with the wristbands? And they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, why are you working in here if you don't know what the deal is? Okay, so stop someone else. They're like, oh yeah, we ran out. I'm like, well, is it gonna be okay? And they're like, I don't know, you need a wristband to get in. So finally, after many people going to talk to different people or whatever, we finally, after about 15 minutes, wrangle someone to come give us wristbands. We put the wristbands on. Did a single person check that we had wristbands on? Absolutely not. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is like the line management from the get-go was a nightmare because they were single file putting people into this room, which by the way was completely empty. They could have absolutely just let people, as soon as they walked in, walk right into the hall and find yourself a place to sit like they do at every other con. But no, they hold you back and then they single file take you out to your seat. Like, why? Why is that necessary? Just let people go when they get there. We did not need to stand in that room together for... So we got there into that room about 9:30 and we got into the main room at 11. So an hour and a half we stood around. It got to the point where people were watching the panels on their phone. Okay, so keep this all in mind because we also went to the last panel of the con. And did a single thing change in that whole process? Absolutely not. It did not. Did we have a pass to get into that? Yes, we did. Did we make it into the room before the thing started? No, we did not. We did go to 2 other panels. We went to the 2 other Imagineering panels. The first one was kind of like watching people give a PowerPoint presentation. Not my favorite, but we got there. For those smaller rooms, you only need to be there 30 minutes ahead of time. We got there 30 minutes ahead of time. Again, we were held in a separate room until 20 minutes before the start of the panel, and then they let us in, but luckily those are smaller panels, so it's less crazy when that's happening. The panels that I went to in 2015 were stellar compared to these panels, but honestly, you never know how a panel is gonna hit. These people were doing their best. I'm not gonna complain too much about what the content of the panels was. We got into a panel, we went to them. Sigh. Okay, then there's the shopping experience. So there's a whole bunch of booths that are either small booths of like random vendors who are just selling random stuff. Then there's like Disney Friends booths like Loungefly and Lunchbox and like people who sell Disney branded merchandise, specifically Citizen watches, Pandora, stuff like that. Those all had little lines that you could get into and get into the shops. Those were fairly easy to get into, although I will have to say that like Loungefly had a bunch of like con exclusives that they made you get to the con super early. So if you didn't get in that line in the first 2 hours, you didn't get one of those bags. We find out later, all of that stuff was just available online. They literally had a banner that said, want D23 exclusive merchandise to like anyone who wanted to order it. So like, A, you didn't need to rush to get there. You didn't need to stand in that line. You didn't need to skip your panels if you had early morning panels to get a bag. Like none of that had to happen. Luckily I didn't buy a bag there, but I was just like, you know, if you're gonna say something is a con exclusive, don't sell it on your website. Like, those people didn't go to the con. Don't call it a con exclusive. You can say it's for D23 that we released these, but like, don't call it a con exclusive. Okay, so then there's like, I don't know, probably 6 or 7 stores that are exclusive Disney stores. So there's MOG, which is Mickey's of Glendale, which is the Imagineering store. This is the one I was talking about earlier in the video where I was like, the offerings were meh. There's the Expo one. There's the big store. I think that was actually called the Expo store. And then there's one that's Expo X MOG, which is all the like specific to the Expo. So like anything branded D23 Expo 2022, t-shirts, hats, stuff like that. That was available exclusively in another store. So in order to get into those stores, especially if you were not there on Sunday, you had to, like I said earlier, you had to sign up at either 6 a.m. or 1 p.m. There was 2 rushes to get tickets to get into these stores. So, and you could only have one at a time. So if you didn't get up at 6, you could only go to one store that was a branded Disney store. I know people who couldn't get into any of the stores any of the days because they signed into their account at 1:01 p.m. because there were so many people trying to get into virtual queues to get into these different stores that were available. So you spent all this money to go to this expo. All the expo exclusive merchandise is like available online, and then you have to try and like get into a lottery to go just to the stores that you paid to get into the expo to get to. Like, that doesn't make any sense, Disney. It really doesn't. I understand that a lot of people wanted to go into these stores, but like, sigh. I will say that at the end on Sunday, I think towards the very end of the day, they did let just like a queue form to let people go in, but like that wasn't the case. So if you didn't have a Sunday badge, you didn't get that. So you very well could have attended this conference, never gotten into a panel. You could, like, I know someone who got one panel out of the whole thing. Me and my friend both got 3 each. But it was, I think actually we got 2 panels and like a giveaway each. This other person I know only got 1 panel total the whole time. I will say that that's not great. The lottery system is sort of like better than forcing you to have to get into line. In 2015, you had to sleep overnight on the concrete in order to get into the big expo hall to go see the big stage, like the Marvel panels and stuff like that. Yep, that's a thing. I am a person who's like, I paid for this hotel bed and I'm gonna sleep in it. There's 0 chance I'm gonna get up and be in line at 4:30. Like there's no announcement that I'm not gonna be able to read about 20 minutes after it happens, so whatever. All I'm saying is that mostly this expo was a bunch of shopping, half of which you might not have been able to do. Like if your cell phone failed out, or like one of the times my friend couldn't even get in because her app kept crashing, so she got no tickets to get into any of the stores. We did manage to get into most of them eventually by like sheer determination, and like we would pull over 15 minutes before it started and like have everything set up and like check it and make sure it was working and stuff like that. So like it was possible to get into them, but like no, just no, like that's kind of ridiculous. I just thought it was a really poorly managed con. Their communication was absolute garbage. Like to get a notification literally 20 minutes before I had to be in a line that I had to be in it the first day. Like, why didn't you include that in the email that you sent us? I don't know. Anyway, this is my diatribe. I had a good time. I hung out with my friends. I got some shopping done. It was fun. We had a pleasant time together. I think cosplayers, if you were just cosplaying that con, you probably had a really great time because there was all kinds of like fun cosplay stuff going on. There was like many photographers, there was like group shoots that were happening that were all really cool. So I think if you were cosplaying, you had a completely different con experience than I did. When compared to Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, or New York Comic-Con, or Dragon Con, any of those, or even like WonderCon, which is held in the exact same location, this is garbage. Like that stuff would never have happened. Like we wouldn't have been held outside for an hour in the humidity and the heat, and that was my complaint about 2015, is they were single-filedly letting people in and beeping their paper to get in 100-degree weather. So this was slightly better, although it was more humid. It was just kind of ridiculous. Like everything about it, that the con part was running, their app kept crashing, like just all kinds of stuff was happening. Like people couldn't get what they wanted. They sold out, like they had a signature thing, which was like these ears that had chrome that were melting over them. Sold out of those like the first day. So like you couldn't get half the stuff you wanted to get. And that's kind of normal for a con, but like it's Disney. They also offered them for pre-order on their website, like during the con. So like A, you didn't have to again be at the con, but B, like you didn't even have to like go shove your way through that line. They never told you that. They never told you what was in any of the stores either. Like that was another thing. It's like that Mickey's of Glendale store. Like why didn't you have a sheet telling us all the things that were available in there so that we could look and see if we even wanted to wait in that line? Not fun. Not fun. Like I've never had a con experience that was like that. I don't mind waiting in line. I really don't. Like I've been to Comic-Con. I waited 7 hours to get into a panel before. I get it. I get how this thing runs, but like it's not cool to make it so that like there are people who can't get into half of the con that they paid for. And I know that like paying for a ticket doesn't guarantee you access to everything, blah 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 legalese, but like it just makes me not want to go. That's the long and short of it. I'll probably go in another 10 years and like be like, oh yep, still hate it. But it's really just a shopping event. If you want to go for the announcements, I would actually suggest that you watch them online because you're going to get a better like access to the stage and the screen. You're going to see things a lot better. And then also you'll be able to like be able to watch it. Like we were having to watch both of the panels we were wanting to go to. We had to watch online in the basement because we were not given access to go into the room that we had reservations for. That's me going off about D23. I don't like it. It's not a con. I love Disney. Like, although maybe I don't. Maybe I'm starting to get sick of Disney. The parks are starting to get like meh. The guy who's running Disney is not making me happy. He's doing a lot of things that I just don't love. Like they're not letting people buy annual passes. You can only buy an annual pass if you have an annual pass. The reservation system sucks, and like just all these things about Disney. So maybe I don't love Disney anymore. But that con is just a mess. I have been to so many cons and they all have their problems, but I have never ever come back from a con like I've come back from D23 both times. Every con I go to, I'm like, nah, we had a really good time. Like, we woke up, we looked at that line, we decided we're not getting in that line because it's too long. It's like a completely fair thing to have happen, and I won't ever complain about it because I made the decision not to do it. But like, to see my friends not have access to any of the panels and not be able to do any of the shopping, like, why are they even there? Like, if you're not cosplaying and that happens to you, you're not having access to about half of the con, and that's really kind of garbage. Okay. That was my diatribe. It was long-winded. I'm sorry about that. But I want to give people a fair shake about what I thought about that con. It's not the way. It's really not the way. Like, they're Disney. They can do better. They have access to, go to Comic-Con, and they've been to Comic-Con. They used to present there before they started their own. So they've seen what a good con and a well-run con looks like. They have the money to hire the most expensive people to tell them how to do this correctly. Have they done that? Doesn't appear so. They don't train their staff. Like, every time we asked a question of a staff person, they're like, I don't know, I'm just here for the day. Like, I'm like, did you guys not have like a 20-minute meeting before you started your shift to like explain what things were and where they were and stuff like that? Like, like, where are the bathrooms? I don't know, I don't really work here. No. No, Comic-Con teaches volunteers that stuff before their shift starts. Like, come on now, D23, you can get this better. Like, I know you can. Okay, that's my diatribe. That's what I have to say about it. Again, this is just my opinion. It was my experience. It's what I think about it when compared to other things I've been to. I will choose not to go to this con. Again, if I do choose to go to this con, I'm going in with my eyes open to knowing what's gonna happen and to knowing that I'm just gonna, maybe I'll cosplay and see what that's like sometime. But yeah, okay. I hope this was helpful and informative, and if you didn't like this review, do not leave comments in my comment section because I will delete them because I'm allowed to have my own opinions. Okay, see you later. Bye.